I'm glad you said that. It's very well said, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes we saw over the last two presidential campaigns. You saw Senator McCain and Governor Romney always mention about a president who was over his head or a president who didn't know what he got himself into. But I was thinking along the lines of you, sir, where he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, this is a man who said, "I want to fundamentally change America," and everything he does points to that direction, and his friends follow suit, voting with him, 99% of the time.
No, you're absolutely right. And so when you look at what has happened with our economy, the fact that you have 93, almost 94 million Americans who are out of work and not even actively looking for work, this is what his policies have created. And it is the advancement of a dependency society and a welfare nanny state, more people in poverty, more people on food stamps, because he wants more people to be linked to government and, sucking off the largesse thereof, which comes right back to this whole thing about these 5.2 million illegals who now will be, granted some sense of legality. So, everyone's talking about how they're going to be paying taxes into the system. Most of them are below that poverty level, and it's going to be the earned income tax credit that they're going to be receiving. So we're going to be paying money to them. Medicaid is going to expand. They're going to now be able to apply for Social Security and other type of benefits. I don't care what the president says. I know that there are people already trying to figure out how they can get these benefits. And this government is going to try to extend it to them because they're looking for a new voter base.
I want to throw some accolades your wife's way. You mentioned about your moving to Texas, and she'll be heading out there. But I got to tell you, I read her piece on the Adrian Peterson situation a little while back, and I know there's been some developments on that front since then. He's out of the league now until at least April, and there's an appeal process, things of that nature. The Vikings running back, of course, who was caught with child abuse. But your wife wrote a very interesting piece, a very well-written piece about discipline, discipline from a family, from a black family, discipline from people who maybe share some things with Adrian Peterson, but certainly not others. And what really caught me most in that was, they talked about you, how you, the military man, the tough guy, was the softy in the family as far as a physical threat, but you would just point and, be silent, and the girls would say, okay, time to pay attention. And, I mentioned that to some other people, black, white, all different stripes, and they said, oh, yeah, we know that drill. When Dad would get quiet, it would be worse than anything.
Well, and that's important. And look, first of all, Angela is without a doubt the most astute of this partnership with holding an MBA and a PhD, and she writes at a far more intellectual level than I probably do. I'm just a straight shooter from down south. But, it is very, interesting, the relationship. But, having two daughters, you can take boys out to the back 40 and just beat them. I mean, that's what my dad did with us. I mean, he had three boys. But with girls, you have to, establish that father figure with them. You have to be stern, but you cannot crush their spirit. And you have to understand that they look to you as an example of manhood throughout their lives. So it's very easy for me to give them the eye, or what I have found that is a valuable tool is just to look at them and say, I'm so disappointed in you, and just walk away. That's the gut killer.
And what your wife also said in that piece, which I thought was just brilliant and couldn't, as a father of a young daughter myself, I get this too. They said if you lay your hands on your daughter, then you're teaching her that it's okay for a man down the road to do the same.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's not going to happen here, and it should not happen, period. Because with young girls, it's about building up their esteem. And when you think about the decimation that progressive socialist policies have had on the black family, to the point where 72% out of wedlock births in the black family now, in the black community. You don't see black families like I did when I was growing up. And that's all because Lyndon Johnson basically said, we're going to give women checks as long as, who are having children out of wedlock, and as long as they keep a man out of the home, we will continue to give them checks. So what has happened over time is that government has replaced the man in the home. And, this, again, is part of this insidious process that we see that has broken down, the fundamental principle of family and that unit that is so integral to the success of a nation, because that is how you develop, those incredible lasting relationships, and you continue to develop the next generation of progeny for a society, the furtherance of a society. But everything about the progressive socialist agenda is against the family, the traditional family, and you see that in everything they say and do.
I got to tell you, you are so popular with folks who support Sarah Palin. You look on social media, you see these Palin West 2016 comments all the time. And, for a guy who's been out of office for a little while now, and yet your name is always right there with her name, people just have this love for you and admiration for you and respect for you. And, we just want to say thank you. And also, I hope you know that people feel that way about you, and you really made an impact, not only in your time in Washington. People knew that you took that the way you should as a public servant, but everything you do, just the way you live your life and what you're doing now, people have a great respect for you in the Palin community and throughout this country.
Well, I thank you. It is very humbling because, I think about it. It was just 10 years ago that I retired from the United States Army after 22 years of service, and I never would have thought that my life would be where it is today. But, I will remain obedient to God and a faithful servant and the guardian of this republic. And I just want to stand up for our constitutional principles and values so that we can get this country back on the right track. And I'll continue to be a voice that stands up and speaks about those policy solutions to the issues that we're facing. And that's why I'm truly just so excited about this new position and the platform, being the CEO for the National Center for Policy Analysis, what that'll give me and the great team that is there.
Well, we wish you well on that endeavor, sir. We'll be keeping track of things, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. He is Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, former congressman and a great American. And again, thank you so much for being here, and we will be in touch.
Thank you so much, and give the governor all my best.
For more on Alan West, visit AlanBWest.com. That's ALLENBWEST.com. A great video posted on social media by Governor Palin this past week in which she talks about the shellacking President Obama took on Election Day, plus his unprecedented lawless move on immigration. Palin says Obama is giving the American voters the middle finger by rejecting our democratic system and instead going with his own Democrat system. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page, follow her on Twitter @SarahPalinUSA, and visit SarahPalinChannel.com.